Episode 13 of the Monday Morning Worship Leader, 43 Folders, Part 2.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures, praise His good. Praise Him, all God, praise Him, because praise Him, God, praise Him, God, praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
John Francis here. It's so good to be with you. And in the last installment of the Monday Morning Worship Leader, well, we talked about the 43 folders set up. And in just a quick 30-second look at last episode, you basically take folders and you do 12 folders with the months of the year, and then you do 31 folders numbered 1 through 31 for the days. And that's how you come up with 43 folders. It's a rotating calendar, basically, and you can put stuff in it. And so what today's episode, part 2, is going to be about best uses in ministry. Now, first of all, I'm going to give you a saying that I learned again, you heard about my journey in time management, but one saying stuck with me. I'm going to tell you this saying, and then later on, we're going to recap it using 43 folders. Plan a day, once a day. Plan a week, once a week. Plan a month, once a month. Plan a year, once a year. Now, I know that sounds elementary. Just keep that in the back of your head, and then we're going to revisit. So what I decided to do is I just simply looked through my 43 folders, and I have been using this for years and years and years. I looked through it, and I just said, okay, what is in my 43 folders? And I came up with 10 different things that can at least spur your thinking about uses for 43 folders. Number 1, demo music. If you get a packet of demo music, you don't have to listen to it right now. You don't have to listen to it this month. In fact, what you do is you put it in the next available month that's not crammed full of demo music, and then you can parse it out later when you're doing the plan a month, once a month. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So demo music is a great thing. You just get it in the package, take it out of the package. Don't let the package languish in your office. Instead, put that package of music right there in the folder. Say the next available monthly folder. Number 2, bills. This is a no-brainer. You put in the bills a couple of days before they're due, and you just pull them out, and that way you can take care of them. But remember, doing things like this with 43 folders requires daily vigilance. You have to look through there every day. So bills are a great way to use 43 folders, again, if you're in a good practice. Number 3, going with that, monthly receipts. Now, for instance, I have to turn in my Visa receipts once a month, and I always have to turn them in on the same day, on the 21st. That's ingrained in my head, so guess what? Every receipt I get, I throw it in day number 21, and it gets emptied on day 21 as I'm doing my receipts. So if you know that you have a specific day every month where something like that is due, it's a great catch-all system. Number 4, checklists. Perhaps you have a checklist that you go through once a week or once a day or something like that. Tossing it in every day or every other day, that really works well. Perhaps you have a task list or something like that. Not knowing your organizational system, you can really use 43 folders to help you establish that. Number 5, annual budget. So for instance, when we do our annual budget, which is on the top of the year, so January to December is our annual budget. And so usually in July or August, I receive a request to put my budget together for the next year. And that's usually in September, late September. And so what I do is I'll put that budget request in like the first week of September so I can remember. And then if I have things that I want to toss in on that, I throw it in that folder as well as it comes across. So that's a great way to use that too for planning your budget.
6.
Number 6, reports that are due. Whether it's CCLI, CVLI, toss it in the appropriate day. Give yourself a couple of days breathing room that you can work on it. And even, I hate to say this word, but even procrastinate on it if needs be, because you never know how your day is going to go. But go ahead and toss that report that is due in the appropriate folder, and that way you tickle through it, you find that report, you know you got to do it.
7.
Number 7, this is specific for Southern Baptist, but we have the Annie Armstrong and the Lottie Moon offerings every year. And so I get material for that. And usually, for instance, Annie Armstrong is celebrated during Easter month, and that can be April or it can be May. We're on the Gregorian calendar.
Listen to episode 7.
And so I'll usually put that in the month before, and because I get it several months in advance. I put it in the month before so I can parse it out for what I need to do to get things ready for planning for that.
8.
Number 8, and this is a weird one, but I bought a CD player for my office several years ago. And yes, we still use CDs. I still get CDs as demos. And on the 28th, I think it's the 28th day of the month, that CD cleaning disc stays in that folder, number 28, reminding me to once a month clean my CD player. But there are other things that might translate well for that.
9.
Number 9, birthday cards. So again, plan a month once a month. Usually toward the end of the month, I will go through the calendar and see what birthday cards I need to send. And I'll write them all out one time in the month. And then I put them in the appropriate folder. I don't put them on the day, right? Because mail takes a couple of days. Knowing your mail system, usually a week in advance or something like that. But you can put that in your folder so you know to get it out in time for their birthday.
10.
Number 10, seasonal material. So for instance, I usually work on Christmas material starting in June. I'll start putting music. I'll start putting ideas. I'll start putting concepts. I'll even put the bulletin stock. I need to order all of that as I am planning well ahead. So maybe June or July. It'll help you actually if you specify in your mind what month do you really want to make sure you get everything locked down for your planning for seasonal events. Same with Easter. It helps to, again, Gregorian calendar.
Again, episode 7.
It helps to look at when Easter is going to be for next year. And then, you might want to put all your Easter materials that you get in maybe about 3 months ahead of time or whatever lead time you need to get ready for Easter. But seasonal materials are great, especially in the monthly folders. Now, remember, I said plan a day once a day, plan a week once a week, plan a month once a month, and plan a year once a year. Let me elaborate on that a little bit as you're using 43 folders. Plan a day once a day. So you can either do this one of two ways. I talked about it last week. You can pull the stuff at the end of the day for the next day's folder, put it in an inbox or on your desk. That way you can kind of see what's ahead, and so it doesn't surprise you when you come in the next day, but have it there available, or you can pull it that day of. But if you use 43 folders and it's the first thing you go to every day, it kind of helps you to plan your day. And so use that to plan your day once a day. Empty tomorrow's folder. Plan a week once a week. You need to set aside a day of your week, and for me it's Sunday evening. Usually part of this is working on this podcast, but Sunday evening I usually will put together everything that I need for the week. And I'll look through the folders and make sure everything is set up for that week. I look at my calendar, and if I need to adjust anything in the folders, say I have a lot of demo music on a day I'm not in the office, then I adjust it out and do that. So plan a week once a week. And by the way, Getting Things Done, the book I referred to last week, has a really good weekly planning chapter in there. So that's something you should refer to. Plan a month once a month. So what I do with 43 folders is I take that next month at the end of the previous month. So in fact, I mean, by the time you're listening to this, this is on the last Sunday of the month. And so either today or tomorrow, I will just sit down and I will take next month's folder and I'll parse it out through all of my numbered folders for the following month. So it will be May, so I'll pick up the May folder and I'll just put things in the day folders that I need for May. Plan a year once a year. And this one is going to be its own specific podcast sometime. I'm going to talk to you about what I do to plan for a year. And usually what I do is I take a day or two out of the office. I take my 43 folders with me. I take my computer with me, and I take some other really important things. Usually it's toward the very end of December when things have died down greatly, but it's before the next year. And I rough out the goals and strategies and what it's going to take for the next year. So that's planning a year once a year. Plan a day once a day, plan a week once a week, plan a month once a month, plan a year once a year. And I promise you, I'm not going to talk about organizational stuff for a while. We're going to go on some other topics, but it's good to visit that because it is a necessary evil to what we do, is being organized and trying to make sure that we are ready for the next Sunday. And which leads me to a good word. Last week on A Good Word, I pointed out Getting Things Done, which is a great secular book on time management, project management. This week, I want to talk about a good spiritual book on it. It's called What's Best Next by Matt Perman. This came out about 10 years ago, and it is such a fantastic book that usually when I review books on the podcast, I review books that I've read and read and read. Well, in looking at this one for this podcast, I decided tonight I'm going to start reading it again because it's so good. But basically, it's what happens when the gospel meets productivity and how that looks and how it can look in your life. I bought this book as I was working on my PhD, and I'm going to tell you the concepts in this book got me through teaching overtime classes for several semesters, doing a church job on the side, and getting my PhD. It's just that good. It's What's Best Next. Look for the link in the show notes. And that's it for another episode of the Monday Morning Worship Leader. I'm so glad that you tune in every week. Again, it's growing. I have a blog site, biblicaltrumpets.org, which has a blog on it. You can also hear the latest episode there. You can download episodes, future episodes. Whatever you do, just keep in touch. Email me at john@biblicaltrumpets.org. I'd love to hear from you. And remember, my friends, we are not rock stars. We are servants. God bless you.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Next time on the podcast, we're switching back. We're going to talk about worship theology and heritage. What is the regulative principle of worship? Is it still around? And is there an opposite to that? RPW next time.
Wherever you get your podcasts.